Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moment. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Swallowed Star 2 episode number 65 based on novel. So let's start. Luo Feng left the Dichu palace and returned to his cave. Master Morosa was already there to greet him. Luo Feng smiled and glanced at him. I have already accepted the emperor as my master. Morosa immediately showed joy. Although it was a sure thing when General Xian Jiao came to invite him, Morosa was still worried about accidents. After all, he was a world beast and worried about getting his master into trouble. I'm going to go into seclusion first. There's nothing important to do in the near future, so don't bother with anyone. Luo Feng said. He planned to take the Hunyuan crystal spirit fruit, so he naturally had to concentrate on practicing. He will cut off all contact with the outside world except for his master Dichu. Of course, Morosa can also contact him through telepathy. During the retreat, Yuanzu, Moyu Qingyang and Di Chuyu were temporarily unable to contact him. Don't worry, master. Morosa replied. Luo Feng also sent messages to Yuanzu and the others. Luo Feng immediately went to the quiet room. The master has already accepted the emperor as his master. Morosa was very excited. As a foreign beast, he was very frightened in the origin continent. After all, except for the boundary beast in Qianmu Kingdom, all the boundary beasts in the history of origin continent have died. When I become a top-level beast, and my master has the emperor behind him, my situation should not be worse than that of the beast from Qianmu Kingdom. Morosa thought. If there are more powerful Chaos Realm corpses, maybe I can become a God King. The corpse of the great sage Beiyu last time greatly increased Morosa's strength. But the bottlenecks of the Chaos Realm and the God King are too difficult to break through. For Morosa, it also requires a qualitative change in the realm within his body. Quiet room. One of the floors in the Star Tower. Luo Feng looked at the light red fruit in front of him. Just the faint fruity fragrance made him feel his soul become happy and relaxed, and his thinking speed increased several times. This is a rare treasure bestowed upon Master by the forefather of Yang Feng, a rare treasure that cannot be bred even in the origin world. Luo Feng also understood the value of this rare treasure. For Master Dichu, he has already stood at the pinnacle level of the origin continent. With the ancestor Yang Feng behind him, they can know all the past of the origin continent, and even glimpse some traces of the future, understand many truths of the origin world, and understand many secrets outside the origin world. For Emperor Chu, he has a very long-term vision, even thinking about the end of the source world. But for Luo Feng, the years are still endless. In the original universe, a reincarnation era is very long. Even if it is 10,000 or 100,000 reincarnation eras, in the source world under the rule of the supreme rules, it is just a period of time. Luo Feng can't see as far as Dichu. Now he just wants to take every step well. Walk step by step to the top of the origin continent. You can also repay your teacher's kindness and help the master to take revenge. After coming to Chudu, I finally got a taste of top resources. Luo Feng sighed secretly. Before coming here, I was too poor and didn't even have a suitable God King level inheritance. Now, there are 2 inheritances, 8 tribulations life form, and 72 swords of annihilation. These 2 inheritances are beyond the ultimate realm of the God King, and the realm of the Creator is extremely high. As for the auxiliary resources for cultivation, the royal elites, the disciples of the God King, etc., have all been using auxiliary resources for a long time. Luo Feng had never come into contact with such resources in the past. Such a rare treasure. Luo Feng looked at the light red fruit and said, "Try it." After taking a bite, the flesh was a little tough, but with Luo Feng's strong divine body, he naturally chewed it up and swallowed it into his stomach. Luo Feng ate the whole fruit in a few bites. After the flesh entered the body, it gradually decomposed, and the energy began to spread and began to affect the soul. Luo Feng felt that he was different. Luo Feng, who possessed a perfect divine body, had a strong soul. He also had the spiritual will of the second level of the Divine King, and his thinking speed was extremely fast. But now, under the nourishment of the fruit pulp energy, the soul's thinking speed easily reached more than 20 times the previous level. And the soul also seemed to be much more ethereal. After thinking about the life spirituality chapter in the first calamity of the 8 calamities of life, some of the confusion in the past could be quickly understood. In the past, when I was practicing, I would occasionally have flashes of inspiration. Now my understanding has greatly increased, and many of my confusions are no longer confusions. And my thinking speed has increased by more than 20 times. Is this the effect of the origin continent's truly top resources in assisting cultivation? Luo Feng stopped thinking about it and began to concentrate on comprehending the inheritance. The core of the origin of the original universe. Luo Feng's incarnation of divine power was facing the vast avenue of the origin of life. The avenue of the origin of life. Luo Feng observed. Because he had taken the Hunyuan crystal spirit fruit, Luo Feng's consciousness observed the complete avenue of the origin of life. His comprehension was much stronger than before, and his thinking function was greatly improved. The avenue of the origin of life he observed also changed. In his eyes, the avenue of the origin of life, at first glance, is a winding dragon with 24 claws. But if you look closely, you will see a deeper essence. The outward appearance of this avenue of the origin of life actually contains 6 major branches. Luo Feng saw clearly that each branch was very mysterious, and the perfect combination of each other made it even more vast and complex. Just like the 10 basic laws, each one is very simple, but those below the level of true God can comprehend many of them. However, the 10 basic laws need to be integrated into the law of chaos, which can only be achieved by the chaos realm of the law of oneness. Same reason. If you can fully comprehend any one of the 6 major branches of the great Tao of the origin of life, it won't be difficult for even a divine king of the first level to fully comprehend all 6 major branches. But the 6 branches need to be completely integrated into one. The difficulty immediately soars many times. Only when they are completely integrated into one can it be the complete avenue of the origin of life, and it can be regarded as the ultimate realm of the God King. The gap between the first level of God King and the ultimate level of God King is really too big. Luo Feng finally understood at this moment the differences between those ancient beings in the origin continent. The royal elites of the 2 ancient countries have also consumed many resources, and some of them are even no less effective than the Hunyuan crystal spirit fruit. But the role of resources also depends on who uses them. Luo Feng was able to reach the level of eternal true God even though he had a very vague sense of the laws in the environment of the original universe. His comprehension was imaginable. After taking the chaotic origin crystal spirit fruit and watching the great Tao of the origin of life, he felt that all kinds of insights kept coming to his mind. The 6 branches of the great way of the origin of life are all progressing. Time passes. While facing the origin of life, Luo Feng comprehended the first calamity of 8 tribulations of life form and 72 swords of destruction, and occasionally let Morosa show the mystery of his origin of destruction. During this training process, Di Chuyu, Yuanzu, Mo Yuqingyan, and others did not come to disturb Luo Feng. Finally, the effect of the Hunyuan crystal spirit fruit completely disappeared. Luo Feng felt that his soul had become heavier and more turbid, and his thinking speed had slowed down. After being familiar with the previous experience of increased understanding and extremely fast thinking, Luo Feng was a little uncomfortable at this moment. This Hunyuan crystal spirit fruit lasted for more than a century. Luo Feng stopped practicing, a little shocked. In just over a century, I have improved so much in the 6 branches of the origin of life and the 6 branches of the origin of destruction. They are all comprehensive improvements. Because the cultivation of the origin of destruction requires the help of Morosa to show the mystery of the origin of destruction, so the progress is much slower than that of the origin of life. The 12 branches have made progress across the board. The first calamity of 8 calamities of life records the 3 veins of life body, life source, and life spirit. The first volume of 72 blades of destruction records the vein of splitting the sky and the vein of darkening the sky. With these 5 veins inherited, progress will naturally be faster. The splitting sky lineage and the dark sky lineage, which were the origin of destruction, had both reached the top level of the chaos realm. The life body and life source of the great Tao of life origin have also reached the top level of the chaos realm. The spiritual lineage of life is at the peak level of chaos. Luo Feng was amazed. Even with a powerful inheritance and a high enough talent in the normal chaos realm, it may take tens of thousands of epochs to reach the chaos realm. Luo Feng thought that without the Hunyuan crystal spirit fruit, he would have to practice for 100 or 200 centuries to reach his current state. One Hunyuan crystal spirit fruit is equivalent to 100 times the effect. The most important thing is, the comprehension is improved. When you encounter a bottleneck, your comprehension will improve and it will become easier to break through the bottleneck. Luo Feng understood that the Hunyuan crystal spirit fruit was more suitable for use when breaking through bottlenecks. Luo Feng clearly felt at this moment that he had understood all the mysteries of this branch of life spirituality. What he needed now was the final step of perfectly integrating it into one to form a complete branch before he could become the God King. There are many peak chaos realm people in the origin continent, and even in marginal countries there are many of them. Some who have obtained top resources can even cultivate to the chaos realm and transcend. But they cannot become God Kings. It is because it is much more difficult to perfectly integrate all the mysteries into one than to comprehend all the mysteries. Luo Feng also understood the difficulty. Understanding all the mysteries is part of the learning process. If you learn slowly, you will always make progress. Fusion into one is a qualitative change. I have 10 fruits in total. According to Master's instructions, I was asked to use 5 fruits in the Chaos realm and 5 fruits in the first Divine King realm. Luo Feng thought, from the effect of the first fruit. With the help of the first fruit, my realm was greatly improved and my strength also increased a lot. Next, you need to be patient, let the many branches gradually accumulate, and slowly comprehend them to reach the peak of the Chaos realm. When the first calamity of 8 tribulations life form and the first volume of 72 blades of destruction have reached the peak of the chaos realm, then take the second fruit. Luo Feng knew very well how difficult it was to become a God King. Therefore, this kind of Hunyuan crystal spirit fruit must be used at the most critical moment. Only if you don't rely on external things in your daily life, you can reach the peak of the chaos realm. Then, with the help of external things, you can hope to make further progress. Call. Luo Feng came out of the meditation room and looked at the surrounding scenery. The flowers and plants seemed to have gained endless vitality and grew rapidly. The branches and leaves of the big trees were full of endless vitality and swayed as if they were about to come alive. If I can go one step further, I might be able to easily enlighten these ordinary flowers, plants and trees. Luo Feng thought. Morosa, Yuanzu, Moyu Qingyang all came. After all, Luo Feng had been in seclusion for too long this time. When they saw Luo Feng, they found that the plants and flowers around him were blooming, and the surrounding space was full of life force. Master. Mo Yuqingyan felt that his master was different, but he couldn't tell what was different. Morosa's realm was high enough that he could feel that Luo Feng's life breath at this moment was much more terrifying than before, even more terrifying than this world beast. How can the master's aura be so terrifying? Morosa was secretly shocked. Yuanzu looked at Luo Feng. He felt Luo Feng's invisible breath, and even affected the operation of the illusory universe constructed in his body. When an individual is too powerful, it will naturally affect the operation of the world, and even affect the operation of the illusory universe in my body. Now Luo Feng feels much stronger than before the retreat. Master, are you going to become a God King? Morosa couldn't help but say. Not even close. Luo Feng smiled. I've been in retreat for so long, my mouth has no taste. Let's go to Yu Jiefang's place to have a meal. Okay. Morosa was overjoyed, and Yuanzu and Mo Yuqingyan's eyes lit up. Yu Jiefang, that's a culinary artist who entered the chaos realm. His food is no less than many rare treasures, and Yuanzu, Mo Yuqingyang and others are also very tempted. As the most brilliant culinary artist in Chudu, it is not easy to invite him to cook. Only when the God King and the Chaos Realm Transcendent come forward, Yu Jiefang will warmly entertain him. Over a century ago, after taking the Hunyuan crystal spirit fruit, Luo Feng focused on cultivation. Now that the effect of the spiritual fruit has worn off, Luo Feng has become more relaxed. He goes to Yu Jiufang's place to eat some delicious food, and also goes to Qinyu Tower to listen to music and magic with the 7 emotions mind-refining method. All forces in Chu City have also discovered that great sage Luo He often goes out. On this day, Luo Feng came to the Dark Hall of the Yang Feng Club in Chudu alone. Great sage Luo He, the Lord of the Dark Hall of Yang Feng Guildhall, came to greet him personally. The Lord was an ordinary-looking woman dressed in gold. This woman had a restrained aura, but she was actually a peak chaos realm being called Marquis Xinhua. Only children of the royal family could be given the title of Marquis, which was extremely rare in the ancient country of Yang Feng. This is the first time that great sage Luo He has come to our Yang Feng Hall since he came to Chudu. The woman in golden clothes smiled and said, "Please take a seat." Both parties sat down opposite each other. The waiter brought up some wine and fruit. Palace Master Xinhua. Luo Feng tasted the wine. "I came here to sell some treasures." "Oh?" Xinhua Palace Master said with a smile, "Great sage Luo He is the direct disciple of the emperor. Our Yang Feng Hall will definitely buy him at the highest price. When ordinary customers sell treasures, the Dark Hall of the Yang Feng Guild will also lower the price to make the profit high enough." But behind the Yang Feng Club was a group of emperors and some god kings of the Yang Feng ancient country. As a disciple of an emperor, he would naturally receive some special treatment. Take a look first. Luo Feng waved his hand and took out some spoils he got from the last 1-on-5 fight. 3 volumes of terrifying battle formations, some broken golden hoops, 3 black nails, and a long weapon staff. Luo Feng even took out the sword of Marquis Liu Yin and the double-edged axe of the great sage Beiyu. Palace Master Xinhua couldn't help but smile when she saw the long weapon stick. She recognized it at a glance. This was the divine weapon of Marquis Chu Yuanhu, and it was much more valuable. This double-edged axe? Palace Master Xinhua's expression changed slightly. The death of Beiyu Great Sage remains a mystery to this day. Now that he saw the weapon of the Great Sage Beiyu, the Xinhua Palace Master finally understood. It seems that the one who killed the Great Sage Beiyu was Luo He. All transactions in the Dark Hall of Yang Feng Guild Hall are recorded and must be kept confidential for customers. Even if Xinhua Hall Master is the Hall Master of the Chudu branch, Yang Feng Guild Hall will severely punish him if the news is leaked. The Yang Feng Guild Hall is spread across most of the origin continent, so its operating rules are naturally strict. Thus, an invisible light enveloped these treasures in the Dark Hall of the Yang Feng Guild Hall, and they began to be identified and prices were given. Great Sage Luo He is truly amazing. Xinhua Palace Master sighed. Great Sage Beiyu is also at the top of the Chaos Realm, and is also good at the origin of life, with a strong ability to protect his life. But he still died at the hands of Great Sage Luo He. Luo Feng smiled and did not deny it. We will not disclose any transaction information of our customers. Xinhua Palace Master looked at the items. These 3 formation diagrams are of high value. The Dark Palace of Yang Feng Hall can purchase them for 26 billion cosmic sands. In fact, the one who wanted to buy the 3 formations the most was the original owner of the formations, Tianyu Daosheng. But after that battle, Tianyu Daosheng became very poor and could not afford the price. These golden hoops are broken and need to be repaired. Xinhua Palace Master said, I can only give you 30% of the price, 9 billion cosmic sands. Luo Feng listened and muttered secretly. He was holding back his strength at first, but when he unleashed it without restraint, the golden hoop broke. These 3 black nails can also be counted as 9 billion cosmic grains of sand. The remaining sword and double-edged axe can be counted as 9 billion cosmic grains of sand. Adding them all up, it's 53 billion cosmic sand, said Palace Master Xinhua. Luo Feng listened and nodded. He only took out some important treasures, and left many small pieces of spoils untaken. After all, the value of all those small pieces added up was limited. As for the most important Divine King weapon, Xinhua Palace Master pointed at the weapon staff. This is Chu Yuanho's Divine King weapon. It is a Divine King level 1 weapon. It is relatively simple to refine. According to the purchase price given by the Dark Palace of Yang Feng Guild Hall, it is only the lowest 50 billion cosmic sands. Luo Feng also knew that since they were all weapons and secret treasures of the first level of the Divine King, such as armor and swords and sticks, they naturally had different values. Palaces like the Star Tower are even more valuable. At critical moments, you can hide in a palace-type secret treasure to escape. Of course, Luo Feng's body is too strong, so no one has forced him to hide in the Star Tower to escape. It's a Divine King weapon. Maybe a Divine King will even bid for it. Xinhua Palace Master said, I suggest you put this long staff on consignment through the Dark Palace of Yang Feng Guild Hall. With your status as Great Sage Lawher, we in the Dark Palace will only charge the lowest consignment fee of half. The starting price for consignment is 60 billion cosmic sands. It will definitely make more money than the Dark Palace buying it. Then consignment? Luo Feng said. The shortest consignment period is 1 day, and the longest is 1 century. Xinhua Palace Master looked at Luo Feng, Great Sage Lawher. How long do you choose for the consignment period? 10,000 days will be enough. Luo Feng said. An era of the origin continent lasts for 1 billion days, so there is no need to consign it for too long. Palace Master Xinhua smiled and said, Don't worry, we will inform all our important customers of this consignment news. There are not too many customers who can afford the weapons of the God King in the origin continent. The news of the consignment of the God King's weapon was passed on to many customers in the origin continent. In the capital of Chu, it even caused some commotion. After all parties knew that this was once the weapon of Chu Yuanhu. Consign my weapons? Chu Yuanhu held the wine glass and crushed it into powder. His eyes were full of lightning. This Luo he. He was angry, but he was beaten into liquid in the last fight. Chu Yuanhu immediately contacted his most trusted friend, Chu Jiho. Chu Yuan, are you looking for me for your weapon? Chu Jiho knew his brother's temper very well. Brother, this is my weapon. It would be fine if he didn't consign it, but now it's openly for sale. I must buy it back. Chu Yuanhu gritted his teeth and said, It would be a shame if my weapon fell into the hands of other practitioners. Chu Jiho responded, Okay, I'll help you. I can only gather 50 billion cosmic sands here. Chu Yuanhu said, When the time comes to bid for it, I guess I'll need you to lend me some, big brother. Okay. Chu Jiho responded. Even if they were first-class marquises of the royal family, they would need to consume a lot of resources to practice. Marquis Chu Yuan had already tried his best to gather 50 billion cosmic sands. Need more? He could only borrow. Time passes, day by day. Chaos crystals, chaos stones, and the ruins of chaos can be formed naturally by condensation. However, the cosmic sand must be condensed by the gods. Each grain of cosmic sand contains pure power, and there is a prototype of the universe inside the sand. Even the gods need to spend time and effort to condense it. The cosmic sand has many uses. It can be used to refine the blood of some eternal true gods, to set up formations, and to cultivate rare treasures of heaven and earth. The most important use is to blast the cosmic sand to see the most essential Tao composition of the cosmic sand. Each cosmic sand must have at least a complete branch of the Tao to form. Therefore, the value of cosmic sand is still very high. Even the God King, who practices some unfamiliar branches of the avenue, will purchase some cosmic sand. In a blink of an eye, the consignment period is over. Luo Feng also came to the Dark Hall of Yang Feng Hall, and the Xinhua Hall Master greeted him warmly. Great Sage Lawher, the final price of this consignment of the Divine King weapon is 70 billion cosmic sands. After deducting half of the fee, it is 66.5 billion cosmic sands. Luo Feng was still very satisfied. It was indeed much more cost-effective to consign such precious weapons. Do you want these cosmic sands in real form, or do you want to temporarily store them in the Dark Hall of our Yang Feng Guild Hall? Asked Palace Master Xinhua. Store it temporarily. Luo Feng said, Oh, by the way, I also need to buy perfect chaos layer biological materials. The materials only need to be more than 1/1,000,000th of the body. I will bid 10 billion cosmic sands for each material. Perfect chaos layer biological materials are so difficult to obtain. Luo Feng chose the simplest and super high reward. An ordinary God King weapon usually starts at 50 billion cosmic sands. I offer 10 billion cosmic sands, just to buy some chaos layer biological materials. I believe there will be people who are tempted. I have already obtained a material for the golden feathered divine bird. Luo Feng said, I only need one material for each perfect chaos layer creature. This time, the bounty is limited to 10 perfect chaos layer creatures. Is there a deadline for the bounty? Asked Palace Master Xinhua. No, the bounty ends after purchasing 10 kinds of materials. Luo Feng said. Xinhua Palace Master understood, the bounty handling fee is half of the fee. Luo Feng didn't care. In the past century, his life spirituality had reached the peak of the Chaos Realm, and his life body and life source had also reached the top of the Chaos Realm. Even so, Luo Feng was still confused about the Trinity when he was comprehending the feathers of the golden feathered divine bird. Like the golden feathered divine bird, it has average intelligence and the moves it uses are just the threshold moves of the Chaos Realm, but it can still possess the peak strength of the Chaos Realm. This shows how terrifying this perfect Chaos level creature is when it is cultivated to its limit. If his own galaxy transformation method could also reach the Trinity level and reach the perfect limit, a galactic sword light could perform ordinary moves and would have the peak strength of the Chaos Realm. So what kind of strength must it take to crush over with 100,000 sword lights? Even if it was a Chaos Realm transcendent, even if it was a being that had just entered the Divine King level, I'm afraid that it would be directly chopped to pieces. Pushing the transformation method to the perfect chaos layer biological level is also an application of the origin of life. Luo Feng saw the prospects of this path and would naturally continue to go on it. 10 billion cosmic sands, just to buy one material of a perfect chaos level creature? The Dark Hall of the Flame Wind Guild passed the news to important customers, and many customers were also tempted. Even for a chaos level transcendent being, earning 10 billion cosmic sands would take a lot of effort. The Kingdom of 10,000 Worlds at this moment. In the Kingdom of 10,000 Worlds, there is an opened-up world, which houses many special creatures, including God King level beasts, perfect chaos level creatures, and some specially bred terrifying creatures. Do you need our body materials? A towering rock creature and a strange beast with silver hooves and claws looked at their breeder. The breeder, a man in a yellow robe, said with a smile, we only need some of your body materials, more than 1/1,000,000th of your body. After this body material is sold, it cannot be annihilated automatically. It seems that they want to study our body materials. The towering rock creatures and the silver-hoofed beasts were all looking at the breeder. The chaos layer creatures that have reached the perfect level are already very intelligent and can perform some chaos realm threshold tricks. As long as you two agree, I will send you a bottle of blood spirit wine every epoch in the next 10,000 epochs. The breeder said. This kind of thing must be actively agreed by the two perfect chaos layer creatures, otherwise the materials will be annihilated in a moment. 2 bottles of blood spirit wine. The silver-hoofed beast raised its 2 claws. 3 parties. The towering rock creature glanced at the silver-hoofed beast. They were picked up by the Lord of the 10,000 Worlds a long time ago, and have been kept here for a long time from the Chaos Layer. Body materials? They don't care. What they want is good food and drink. A bottle of blood spirit wine. I have tried everything I can. The breeder shook his head repeatedly. After a difficult negotiation, the towering rock creature and the silver-hoofed beast sold some of their body materials at the price of 1.5 cubic meters of blood spirit wine per century, for a continuous supply of 10,000 centuries. This video will end here.